What's going on, everybody? It's Childish. We're back at it again, coming at you with another Summoners War video. And in today's video, we got a super special video for all. We got a guest on our channel that's going to help you guys get up in there when it comes to combat power. This young man literally has about 450k power, and he's been able to get it in less than a month here. So I want to give a big shout out to Baker's Goods for coming on board and helping us out today. Baker, how are we doing today, boss?
Oh, I'm doing good.
Good. It's good to have you here, my man. And again, this is actually, and I said this off camera, I'm going to say it on camera. This is actually like very special for me, guys, because Baker's and I, we've actually known each other off and on for years. He supported the Summoners War community and many other content creators out there. He's one of those people that is very, very creative, loves to, create new comps, have fun with, unorthodox builds and whatnot here. So the fact that he's used that creativity to come on board and just go ham when it comes to this game here is actually absolutely amazing here. So super excited to see what tips you got for the community. And if I recall correctly, you stated that these are going to be kind of more focused on like the early game, mid game kind of setup here for the community. Yes.
Oh yeah. I'm mainly focusing on a lot of the building up your account's power and getting your first main teams going. Good
deal, good deal. But now before we get into that, Bakers, I got to put you on blast. Now tell the people out there. Obviously, like I said, we have a good background here when it comes to Summoners War. Give us a little backstory. How long did you play Summoners War? What motivated you to come on over to Chronicles? Give me the backstory there.
All right, I played Summoners War for about 3-4 years, from 2015 to 2018 or so. I started off free to play on that and got up to World Boss Rank 2 within the first 6 months that I played. And then was G2, G3, and RTA for a little while, playing with at 3s and whatnot.
Very, very. I was going to say, you definitely mix it up when it comes to random use here, and actually paid off there. It was, I think we even had a couple of different YouTubers even showcase some of your like different styles of play on their videos and stuff like that, as well as I know we did a little showcase here on our channel. So it was cool. It was fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it back then.
Yeah, it was good times. It was good times. So again, getting back into Chronicles here, to kind of give people a little bit of backstory from my end. I had the opportunity to jump in there basically when everybody else did, but I was kind of on the back end as far as like progression. Didn't really I wasn't really moving as quickly as other people did, but, funny enough, when the popularity of the Foggy Prison came out, I was like, okay, people talking to me about it. I was like, all right, you should probably have like 200K as a min, a little bit more if possible. And, one day you're like, hey, do you want to do Foggy Prison? And I'm like, yeah, it sounds good. Let's go ahead and jump into it. And you literally had 315K combat power. And I think it's only been like 10 days into the game. You had a huge lead on everybody else here. So you obviously know some things that other people didn't, and some of those tips we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah,
super cool. All right, well, I'm not going to waste any more time, boss. Why don't you hit us up there with your first big tip that kind of accelerated your progression?
Well, I think starting off, a lot of players, they focus the rune dungeon very heavily, and that was something I actually didn't go for as much. I wanted to save my tickets because I didn't know what they would be used for.
Right. And
so instead, I tried looking for what content had a lot more runs I could do a day, and I found the Light Expedition gave runes at 2, level 3, and so I kind of just started working on Light Expedition. I would do the first 50 runs a day at first, and then I started building into a team with Mara, Raccoony, and whatnot, and I got to level 3, which started getting me literally all the runes I needed on my account.
Right.
Because if you do that for a week, you fill your rune box with purple runes.
Right. 5-star purple runes to be exact, correct?
Yeah, 5-star purple runes, and you also get a lot of these book pieces that you could craft in alchemy and cooking.
Right.
To get your summoner some skill points.
Right. So it was like a little bit of a 2-in-1 combo. You got yourself the good runes and then the pieces to like get a ton of essentially skills for your summoner. Yeah.
Yeah, and along with the Transcendence materials.
Very nice.
So the skill points actually are probably a quarter of my summoner's power.
And that's crazy. You wouldn't think like it would amplify your combat power that high up, but I mean it makes sense after you showed me a picture of how many points you actually have versus what I currently have, which is literally double if I recall correctly. You have like double the points that I have. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think I'm sitting at currently about 870. And most people are probably around the 400 to 500 range.
Yep. And I believe if I recall correctly, as far as Expedition goes, I think let's take a look here for stage 1. 165 combat power. Probably, once you get up a little bit higher than that, 20k or more, you get the bonus or whatnot. So, do you, considering the fact that the quality of what you can drop in special expedition, obviously not as good. Level one's not as good as level two, and level two is not as good as level three, vice versa. If somebody gets this opening here, do you still recommend them to kind of go in there? Do you say, hey, just wait till level two or level three? What's your take on that?
So I would say every player should do it for at least the 50 runs daily, even if
Okay,
they're only doing level 1, because it's an easy AFK auto.
sure.
Like, if you start at level 1, it's fine, you get free coins. Once you get up to doing level 2, you want to get it to auto, because manualing 50 times a day is just painstaking.
Yeah.
So, if you get to level 2, you'll start getting runes. They're not too common after seeing you try for 50 something runs.
Right. Yeah, we did a few runs there on stream. Yeah.
But once you get up to level 3, that's when you really start gaining a lot of power on your account.
Good deal.
And level 3 is actually, I still auto level 3 myself a lot. I could do level 4, but it's not worth it if I'm not autoing.
Right. Yeah, and it's kind of cool because if you think about it, it's 50 free entry ticket. I mean, it's almost like using repeatable tickets, almost like that. Like it's just a separate dungeon from everybody else. You can do this after you get your dailies done, and like I said, I essentially collect some good rewards.
Yeah, and I also think the best part of that dungeon is it doesn't give a specific rune set, so you get a little bit of everything mixed in. Also, I think the Path of Growth, a lot of people really focus hard on just doing the rune dungeons in there, which I actually split it up evenly. The Path of Training, Path of Adventure, and Path of Subjugation. You need Subjugation for raising your smithing level, which is used to upgrade your summoner's gear.
Right.
And you also get outfit materials.
Yeah.
So that's actually one that I actually farmed pretty heavily.
Yep. And that was a huge mistake right before I got up into Foggy Prison. My gear was essentially the gear that we get from the quest line. Didn't realize like how important it is, especially for me being an every summoner, right? But me being an Ormeal, which is like my main damage. One of my main damage dealers, to have, that assistance when it comes to the extra critical rate, the critical damage, attacks, so on and so forth. So definitely for those of you guys that are watching out here, especially if you came from Sky Arena, right? We can't help ourselves, but I want to go right into these Path of Adventures and jump into these runes. But ultimately, you got two different things to focus on, not only your units, but your summoner. And they're doing just as much work, if not more, since you're controlling them to, get the job done. So yeah, good tip there. Balance it out. Don't go all into subjugation, and mix it up and put a little Path of Training in to get your units leveled up here and some free unknowns and whatnot.
Yeah, Path of Training gets you a lot of the unknowns to get some power level from upping your monster book, and then also Path of Training gives a lot of coins. Just make sure you always do the bonus day though, because it's not on bonus, it gives almost nothing.
Right, and I was going to say that might even be on your list too. I would say like for the dungeons that they do, like if it's not on bonus, like don't do it. Like it's the value that you get on bonus is basically makes it worth it, right? So people shouldn't really focus on Queen Spiders or Forgotten Earth. Like for today, they should be all about tier glands, right?
Yep. And then also, if you have tickets, if you're early game, you don't actually have to use your tickets every day. You could just save them until you could clear a higher level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that was, I don't know if I made that mistake fully, but I definitely started to get a little careless and was like, I just really need a couple of runes or whatnot. So I started going ham. One thing to kind of mention too, and I'm sure it might even been you that told me this, but I was making the mistake of trying to grind, like level, what is it, eight or something like that for the 4 stars rune, when ultimately I could have gone, I made it super easy for me to go to like the creature book and just farm, 5, this area here, Rukugama, go for the, what is it called? The elite bosses here, and just get the free 4-star purple ones here to like really jump up my stats on my summoner as well, or my units as well.
It's also a great coin farm if you do those field bosses.
Yeah, gotta get it.
Sell them for 400 or 500 each.
No, definitely. Cool. So what is the tip number 3 there that you got?
Tip number 3, save things for events. Event monsters are going to give you the most power of anything in the game.
Okay.
So, like right now, we have the Ifrit event running, and you want to run a lot of Path of Growth and Kairos in order to get your spare Ifrits.
Right, right, right. So you're talking about the actual events in game. I thought you were saying like field events. So you're talking about like this one right here?
Yeah, no, I'm talking actual events are probably the most powerful thing we have right now.
Right. Yeah. And I would say even more powerful for the people that purchase like the summoner pass to get the bonus ×2 if they happen to do. Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely still a good thing to focus on if you're free to play or whatnot here. But if you happen to spend a little bit of money, the summoner's pass and taking advantage of the events is pretty crazy. I say I'm sure you probably had better numbers as well, but I was able to fully skill up my Sekhmet and get like 4 or so additional copies of Bastet in that Bastet event, which is
yeah.
crazy because that was not even half of what most people can get.
Well,
I
the
think.
other thing is, if you save enough tickets for those events, like right now, if a new player started, they probably won't be able to complete the Ifrit event.
Mhm.
If they save tickets for a future event, I'd say save your Path of Growth, save your Kairos tickets, because when you get a book level 14 on a natural 5-star, that monster gains 20 or 30k power.
Yeah, yeah, and level 14, you're talking about like Awaken level 14 or.
No, if you go into the monster book, you could actually look at any individual monster's monster level or
Mhm.
book level, and they'll get the bonus stats. So, like for the Ifrit, it'll give like, I believe, a HP and accuracy. I'd have to go check.
Let's take a look here. Fire Ifrit, where are we at here?
Yeah, so if you go onto the Wind Ifrit, and then you click on that right there,
Which one?
the level 5.
Level 5. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, so this is where major power comes from.
Okay.
So, off an event, you can actually get this book to like level 14 if you farm it like crazy and saved enough.
I,
And that alone is probably my number one reason why I'm to 450k power now.
I was gonna say it because I truly did. I mean, I knew about do these events, save the things, get the pieces, but I had no idea that this even existed. This book effect where you just once you get it to a specific level, you get this bonus. I mean, this is huge. Like talk about the accuracy and not just. I mean, that is crazy, and
Yeah,
that's different. Or I guess you can't see it for everybody else, just the ones you own. But holy cow!
yeah, and
Like,
then say you ever summoned an At 5 and you wanted to get that book effect,
hmm
you would want to be using your blessings and summons every month. It'll reset,
yep,
and that's how you'd be able to get the book level on anything else. Because I know it'd be hard to get deep Nat 5s all the time. Most common question I have from everyone I've talked to is where to get coins. Because when you upgrade runes, you lose your coins. When you do your professions, you lose your coins. Upgrade your summoner equipment, you lose them.
hmm
But so a lot of people just almost never have coins.
right,
So for that, I think we already went over Path of Growth. That gives like 15k a run or something like
right.
that.
Have the training there. Yep, yep, yep.
And then field bosses, you'll want to always farm those whenever you're done with your dailies and sell the runes from them.
Okay,
But so you could just run around the map and collect from chests. That's what I usually do.
right.
Because from the chest, you could actually get a box, which in Rukamonga, or however you say it,
Yeah, I don't know how to say it. Yeah.
you could actually get 6-star or 5-star legendary runes from that.
Yeah, I
And
have yet
it's
to pull
completely
anything
free to play.
nice. I think the biggest thing I've gotten is like some blue keys, and I got the Florence box, but the Florence box didn't really have anything, so I was a little sad, a little disappointed, but yeah,
Yeah. That's one of those things where when you break pots, you get those blue keys and you save those up. I think I'm around 300 of the keys now just from
yeah,
running around the map breaking pots to get coins.
there you go. And one thing to kind of add to as well, that we mentioned a little bit earlier, when it comes to the research logs, obviously, you got the logs, but that's not going to be just enough to make the books. You actually have to be a specific level on professions. I believe it's either cooking or
Yeah.
alchemy to be able to do it. So, in your humble opinion, as far as profession goes, do you just recommend everybody do a little bit or focus on?
So
Yeah, what do
I
you what
think
do you say?
everyone should focus on professions and try to max everything but alchemy. Alchemy, you want at least level 6.
Okay,
You don't have to worry about master until later in the game because master is going to cost you probably 50 to 100 mil.
right, lot of resources there.
Yeah, but blacksmithing, you want, because once you get up to clearing Foggy and White Castle, you could upgrade their equipments. And, like, just the Foggy trinket alone for Akina will give you damage reduction on your summoner,
Okay.
which is pretty massive
Right.
for survivability.
Very nice. Very nice. And just kind of another random question for the side. Obviously, in addition to all these tips here, there's got to be stuff that you're doing on the side overnight, AFK farming and whatnot here. What's your kind of go-to thing to do for AFK farming to, again, get yourself
So
kind of above the
AFK
rest?
farming, when it comes to night, I'll go and buy the cheapest baits I can and go fish.
Okay.
Because as you fish, you'll get boxes with resources for professions, and you'll also get a lot of fish that you could sell or something.
Right. Right. Right.
You also could use manta ray to make magic essence with cooking, I think.
I did not know. Yeah, I did not know that.
And then if I'm not doing fishing, I'll go and just AFK some monster and try to work on my monster book level.
Okay. So essentially, what I'm doing here as well. What?
Yeah. So any monster on the map, they have a book level, and as you up it, you'll get crystals, scrolls, sky stones, which are highly important.
Sounds
And
great.
then I actually recommend, if someone's free to play, they want to try to max all of their collection and creature books. That's where they'll get most of their crystals early on.
Yeah, and I was going to say too, one of the things that we talked about off the side as well is that, of course, you're sitting at, basically about 450 KCP, and, people are going to ask, well, 450 KCP is pretty awesome, but it's probably not attainable because you're free to play. Well, you mentioned that you have a couple of people kind of following your methods and whatnot, and they're sitting around, 300 to 350 CP here now. I think what are we at, like 3 weeks in, maybe 4 weeks in?
Yeah, and it's like they're have 3 or 4 guildies that are all free to play. They've basically been doing the same content I've been doing.
Right.
And they just farm the crystals through the book. And I mean, some of them do use the exchange to try to sell stuff and get Rahilled to trade for crystals.
Yeah, which I think is a great thing to even mention for any free-to-play person. That's the cool thing about this game is that you can, keep an eye out on various things that, maybe gated when it comes to professions and whatnot that people need, or just certain things that are pretty popular, and make some free crystals on the side so you can continuously refresh your dungeons and whatever else you need to keep it going. I mean, essentially, game is set up in a way that you can, you can do just fine free to play and, collect yourself some crystals without having to spend a dime.
Yeah, and even if you are pay to win, it's still an amazing way to get extra crystals if you need them.
Yep.
Resources. Because I think most of my crystals, even though I spent on the game, have actually came from the exchange. One of the nice things with this game is it's actually worth playing all 3 characters, because
I bet
you get the spare rewards for doing all the quests on all 3 of the characters, but also you can do the daily bosses and field missions on all 3 characters.
Yeah.
And doing the daily boss, you could get free scrolls, and doing the dance event, you could get a chance at a free mount.
Sure.
And coins. And then also, it's worth building more monsters for the spires, because you end up having floors where you're going to need, like, maybe a fire support or a wind knight or something. But the nice thing on here is you also get the restore stones, which you get somewhere around 3 or 4 per character you build, and 2 from TOA monthly.
Okay.
So even if you mess up when building something, you could always get your materials back.
Oh, sure. Yeah. That's a really cool thing to have as well.
When you're working on your subjugation and whatnot, you get a lot of pieces for outfits, and outfits are just spare summoner power. You don't have to upgrade or anything. You just build them once, and they'll give you permanent power for whatever they're meant for.
Right.
So there's a lot of outfits for power for your summoner, like attack and defense, HP. When you actually get them, I've noticed a lot of damage increases whenever I get, like, the attack ones and whatnot.
Gotcha. So, again, kind of reviewing some of the stuff that we mentioned already, some of the bigger things here, the expedition farming, the research log making as far as the books goes, focusing on the creature book and getting those free crystals for refreshes. In addition to, I believe, taking advantage of the events and capitalizing on some of the rewards. Is there any other big tips that you have for the community?
Don't upgrade your runes and gear more than you need to.
Sure. I know
Because
that hurt me a lot. I did that.
yeah, I built like 20 monsters, and I will say they took all of my coins I have.
Yeah. Well, and not even coins, right? Some of the sky stones too. After you get to a certain
Yeah.
level, they pick sky stones. Sky stones definitely are hard to come by. So good
Yeah,
deal.
so I would say work on making one team at a time, max its runes, but don't try and upgrade it too much. If you have a working team, leave it at that for a while, and you'll thank yourself when it comes to working on professions or anything else in the game.
All right. Well, once again, my man, thank you so much for coming on board and doing this collaboration with me. Hopefully, we can do this once again once we see some like more higher level dungeons and some more end game stuff, so we can get your take on some of the things that we got to do to like really get up there in that 500,000 range. Because Lord knows you'll be there by tomorrow, right?
Sometime in the next week, maybe TOA reset.
There you go. All right, guys. Well, again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this content, you already know what to do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and Bakers and I will see you guys all in the next one. Take care.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, buddy.